What's going on, guys? My name is Darian, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I talk about fragrances, of course, Bowtie Fragrance Guy, but also get into talking about some style, fashion, tips as well, a little bit on grooming. So if you're into looking good and smelling great, then I think this is the channel for you. Make sure you hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon as well, so that way, when I upload a new video, you'll get notified. Guys, on today's video, I'm going to be jumping in and talking about some fragrances I have, 10 to be exact, that I feel like every man should have, or at least try by the time they're 40 years old. These are either going to be very popular fragrances, niche fragrances that I have in my collection, or they're going to be fragrances that are very, very gentlemanly as well. Now, I understand when I was 23, 24 years old, I didn't have the money to spend a lot of money on fragrances. And I understand that. But for the most part, the older we get, a lot of times, the better we become financially, the more stability we have from a financial perspective. And a lot of times we're able to start to, if we're really into this fragrance thing, like I am, we have the ability then to start really treating ourselves to some more expensive niche fragrances. When I was about 24, 25 years old in that age range, I had about 5 or 6 go-to fragrances. They were all designers. And most I ever spent on a fragrance was probably about a little over $100. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But again, when we become more mature, I think there are certain fragrances that really work for more mature gentlemen. So you'll see those fragrances, and again, you'll see fragrances that are a little bit more expensive, which again, on average, most of us are a little more financially stable once we get over that age of 30 threshold. So that's kind of sort of where the idea come from. But I think these are 10 amazing fragrances that, again, every guy should try by the time they get to that tender age of 40. So if you want to see what's on the list, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's go ahead and jump into this video. Now, this first fragrance really embodies everything that I talked about in the introduction of this video. This comes from the brand of Penhaligon, which to me is a very classic brand. I don't really see a guy wearing, you know, a sweatsuit and Jordans really wearing a fragrance like this too often. I really see a guy that's more mature, that is dressed up wearing a fragrance like this. And that's, again, kind of sort of where the idea of this video came from. Not a younger guy, a more mature gentleman. It's definitely a gentlemanly fragrance, one of the top gentlemanly fragrances in my entire collection from the brand of Penhaligon. This is called Sartorial. All right, Sartorial. What you're going to get here is aldehydes, lavender, beeswax, honey, and amber. This is beyond good. When my dad would get home from work when I was younger, he would always, of course, come home, make sure the house or dishes, whatever was done, make sure the house was clean for mom to come home and cook. And he would take a shower before he went to go pick my mom up from work. And he used to have these different facial aftershaves, facial splash, and stuff like that that he would put on after taking a shower. This kind of reminds me of that, but to the 10th power. All right, it is a very gentlemanly fragrance. You know, I've kind of told the story before about this fragrance when I've talked about it. What they had in mind when they made this fragrance, like a workshop, clothing shop, making clothing, and the floor in there, and the steam from pressing up. That's kind of the idea behind this fragrance, and they captured that in the bottle so well, guys. My gosh, my name really. Bowtie Fragrance Guy. This kind of ties into my name, this fragrance, Sartorial, because it has some kind of significance with it, which I'll talk about at another time. But man, this stuff is for those bosses out there, those gentlemen out there that's dressed to impress, that's bosses that's really out there to, you know, handle their business and get the job done. I love this stuff from the brand of Penhaligon's, guys. Every guy should at least experience this by the time they're 40. I really think every guy should have it in his collection. This is called Sartorial. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list This one is on here because it's a niche fragrance. Very popular niche fragrance. From the brand of Serge Lutens, this is chergui. And what you get here is tobacco leaf, hay, iris, and sandalwood. The main note here is the tobacco, but it's really, really creamy. Really hard for me to describe what hay does to a fragrance, but all I can tell you is I love it. When I talk about this fragrance, when you look at the bottle, the fragrance, the juice color, I compare it to fine wine. That's the best way I can describe this fragrance, and it's definitely one that, in my humble opinion, deserves all of the talk, all the conversation, and the hype that it has gotten. From the brand of Serge Lutens, one that every guy needs to try by the time he's 40. This one is called chergui. All right, guys, the next fragrance is one that comes from the brand of Parfums. All right, and this one is Creation E. Definitely gentlemanly and definitely a more expensive niche fragrance. Cognac, tobacco, and benzoin are some of the notes in this fragrance. Man, this is... If you guys have never heard Parfums talk about the inspiration for this fragrance and kind of the meaning behind it, it's something that you really need to listen to when you have an opportunity. It's somewhere on YouTube, you can find it. But man, this is one that was super popular when I got into collecting fragrances. Now again, it took me a while to acquire. It wasn't like I got into fragrances and then the next week I had went out and bought this. I actually bought it from someone and I still spent close to, I want to say it was $275 for it, which honestly to me is a good deal. It's one that's worth you having in your collection. And again, I know that oftentimes when we're in our 20s and mid-20s, early 20s and stuff like that, we don't really have most of us the means to purchase fragrances like this, but it's one that I think when you get to that point is one you should experience. It is really good, guys. Again, kind of this Coca-Cola thing in the top, that is true. That is exactly how I would compare this. A lot of sweetness, vanilla, benzoin, ambery kind of sweetness on a dry down. Love this stuff. Definitely one you need to check out, guys, by the time you're 40. From the brand of Parfums, Creation E. All right, guys, this next fragrance comes from the brand of Frederick Mall. Not for everybody, but I do think every guy needs to experience it by the time he's 40. Must forever endure. And what you get here is cinnamon, cloves, musk, and tonka. You've heard people say this, and I can definitely see why they say this. The cloves in this can be a little off-putting to some people. I've said this before. I have a bottle of this that was produced in 2010. The cloves were very, very much amplified in that one. They toned it down in this one, all right? I want to say this one was from around 2018, and I love it. You get the cloves here, of course, a lot of musk, but that cinnamon in here is what gives that Cinnabon kind of vibe that a lot of people talk about with this fragrance. It's the cinnamon and the tonka bean combination, so it gets sweet with the tonka and then that spicy cinnamon when it dries down with the musk. This is heavenly. Definitely a fall winter fragrance. It's expensive, but again, by the time you're 40, guys, I don't really see a 20-year-old wearing a fragrance like this. And that's, again, kind of sort of what the theme of this video is, but one I think is worth it that all guys should try by the time he's 40. From Frederick Mall, most forever joy. This next fragrance comes from the house of Creed, affectionately known as GIT. This is Green Irish Tweed. Lemon Verbena, Iris, Violet Leaves, and Sandalwood. Guys, this smells so good. It was created in 1995. It has some mature classic touches to this fragrance, but it is still, and I always say this, it has found a way to still smell modern. It still smells like 2024 with influences of 1985. So again, this is definitely a gentlemanly fragrance that I think I would be hard pressed, or you would be hard pressed to find someone that did not like the way this stuff smells. May not be their favorite in the world, but hard to see somebody smelling this on another human being and saying it doesn't smell good. That's how good this fragrance is. It is transcendently great from the brand of Creed. Guys, everybody should try this and have a bottle of this in their collection. Green Irish Tweed. Another fragrance that was extremely popular when I got into really building my collection of my wardrobe of fragrances. And this one comes from the brand of Givenchy, and this is called Naxos. Naxos. This is lavender, cinnamon, honey, and tobacco. Yes, this does smell a lot like one of my, which is probably my favorite designer fragrance of all time, Pure Havana from Mugler. But this, as I always said, has more clean, more gentlemanly because it has a fresh lavender in here to go with the honey. Guys, I cannot explain to you how good this is or what it does to the folks that get into your sillage when you're wearing this fragrance. One that I get a lot of compliments on when I wear it. Again, it's a fragrance that I can really see once you get to that 30, 35 age range, really enjoying this fragrance. Now, by no means am I saying that any of these fragrances on this list are limited to anybody that's older. What I'm saying is, again, the price point on them, and again, being more gentlemanly, oftentimes you would find a more mature gentleman, a more established guy being able to afford and then enjoy fragrances like this. But it is one that I think everybody should at least experience at some point in time. It's that good. From the brand of Xerjoff. Guys, get your nose on this one, guys. This is Naxos. All right, guys, this next fragrance, everything I said about Creed's Green Irish Tweed, apply it to this next fragrance. It maybe even multiply it by one. Really hard not to like this one. From the brand of Amouage. This is Reflection Man. All right, and what you get with Reflection Man is petitgrain, neroli, jasmine, and sandal. Oh my gosh, sandalwood. This is amazing. Now, I've talked a lot about Reflection 45, which to me really increased the versatility of this fragrance because it really, to me, made it a signature scent worn year round. It stands up to cold temperatures. Obviously, you could wear this in the cold, but it's not as much of a cold weather fragrance, in my opinion, the way it's currently constructed with the original Reflection Man. But anyway, it's good, guys. My fragrance is kind of aged. You probably can't really see this on camera, but it's kind of got a yellow hue to it now, when it was more clear when I first got it. But guys, this is so good. It's one that's really popular, that especially if you're just getting into fragrances, you're going to probably hear a lot of people talk about it and really hold it in high regard. In my opinion, they are 100% correct when they talk very highly about this fragrance. One everybody should try, a classic, a must-have from the brand of Amouage, Reflection Man. When you become a man and it gets cold outside and you start to grow yourself a beard, all right, and you're going on a date or any kind of close encounter situation or hanging out with friends, especially around the holidays, more specifically Thanksgiving, Christmas time, you gotta have this fragrance in your collection. It is classic. A lot of people talk about it, and it is as good as it has been advertised to be. From the brand of Tom Ford, everybody must try Tobacco Vanille. Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford. Of course, this is tobacco, vanilla, and dried fruits. This is phenomenal. To me, there's a lot of fragrances. Well, there's a handful of fragrances that came out and really, I could tell, was heavily influenced by the DNA of Tobacco Vanille. It is good, guys. Again, tobacco, vanilla, the dried fruits in here is really a game changer. You got to try it, guys. If you don't have it yet in your collection, this is one you definitely got to try by the time you hit the age of 40. It is so good. From the brand of Tom Ford. Guys, try this one. Tobacco Vanille. Another fragrance, guys. I've talked a lot about private blends or private collections. More exclusive line from designer brands. This is from the brand of YSL, Tuxedo. Patchouli, black pepper, and bourbon vanilla are the main notes. To my nose, it's good. It's good. Now, again, I chose this one because this is more classically good and highly talked about and respected compared to speaking to Baby Cat. Now, I think I personally give Baby Cat the edge slightly as a fragrance for my personal taste, but this is so good, guys. Again, another fragrance, when you get into the fragrance community, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about Tuxedo. And when I think about the note of patchouli, this is one of the best patchouli fragrances I have in my collection. All right. Now, it's not the best, but it's one of the best. But I think the way it is composed, but here by Yves Saint Laurent, it makes it more versatile than a lot of the handful of patchouli fragrances that I have in front of this one. All right. The patchouli is there, but you have the black pepper and you have a lot of that bourbon vanilla in here as well. So it's not as patchouli centric as those fragrances, and again, making it more versatile. But guys, it is so good. You're going to hear a lot about it. And I think it's worth a try by the time you hit 40 from the brand of Yves Saint Laurent. Check this one out, fellas. Tuxedo. And last but not least, I had to throw one Gourmand fragrance on this list. And I decided to go with this one, man. So many good memories with it. I think everybody should try it. From Kilian, Black Phantom. Black Phantom. Of course, this is rum, coffee, caramel, and sugarcane as some of the main notes. And like I said, guys, if you love gourmands, by the time you hit 40, definitely give this a try. Black Phantom. This is like one of those, this is one of the first batches of this to come out. Now they've changed the cap. It has a gold cap now, but this is with the original with that gunmetal cap. Absolutely love this stuff. I wore this so much when I first got it. I haven't reached for it in a while because I have so many fragrances, but it's down to here. So I was kind of trying to preserve it because when I come back to it, I'm reminded of how good it is. And again, by the time you're 40, you know, it's a little more expensive, about $250, but it's definitely worth a sniff. Check it out, guys. Absolutely love this stuff. I remember spraying this on a sweater that I had, and it was on there for a week. So check it out from the brand by Kilian. Gotta try at least this Gourmand here. This is Black Phantom. But that is it, guys. That is my time. This is part 1. I'm definitely gonna do a part 2 of this particular video because there are 10 more that I really feel like should be on this list. As always, I sincerely appreciate your time and attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks out there that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell absolutely fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side.